Could Auburn be close to stopping the bleeding a little bit on the recruiting trail?
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie 5.
So we're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie 5, and we are ready to get after a happy Monday. I know last night's live show was not a ton of fun. There was a lot of doom and gloom, I guess, as far as Auburn recruiting goes and just all the momentum that Auburn seemingly does not have, negative momentum at the moment. But Auburn could be close to at least putting a small Band-Aid on things. And we're going to talk about that in just a second, and the impact of that and what Auburn needs to do over July and August to at least get in striking range. If you have a good season, at least be in striking range to having a top 10 class. So before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to Rhoback.com. Use coupon code BUTTON20 to take 20% off your order. Anything in the store, hoodies, polos, swimsuits, doesn't matter. They had a 20% off site-wide sale this past weekend. Well, you can have 20% off site-wide all the time by using coupon code BUTTON20. So check them out. Show them some love. It's Rhoback.com. Auburn seems like they could be getting close to stopping the bleeding, or at least putting a little bit of a Band-Aid on what has been just a dreadful start to the summer as far as recruiting goes. It's just, I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's been really, really bad. You've not really gained much on the trail with some of your top prospects. You did get a commitment from, I think, will be a pretty solid little running back. But overall, you just haven't been able to get any momentum built at all. Like, it's, you take 2 steps forward, you take 2 steps back. But Auburn could be closing in on a very elite prospect. There was a couple of predictions last night, one from Auburn insider Jeffrey Lee from On3 Sports, and then the big one, Steve Wiltfong, who is the director of recruiting for On3 Sports, both predicting Jaquez Wilkes to end up at Auburn, end up in this class. So typically when those things happen, stuff moves a little bit quicker behind the scenes. Typically, when stuff like that happens, you can expect a commitment, hopefully, in the very near future. So we'll have to see. Well, who is Jaquez Wilkes? So he is a 6'4", 220-pound edge. Really, I would just call him an athlete. I know he's listed as edge, but I think I'd just call him an athlete. He plays running back in high school. He plays middle linebacker in high school. He comes off the edge in high school. He does play at a smaller classification. He's from Wadley, Alabama, which is just down the road from Auburn. Hopefully Auburn can get one of those kids. You just had one recently commit elsewhere. Hopefully Auburn can get one of these kids, these talented kids in their own backyard. He'd be a good one. He's a top 100 player pretty much across the board. On every recruiting site, he's ESPN, he's top 125. Rivals, he's top 120. And then on 247 and On3, he's a top 100 kid. He's a number 6 player in the state of Alabama. You know, Auburn has really tried to – Hugh have really tried to make the state of Alabama an emphasis. And this season has been – this class has been rough. This class has been really rough. You had Hezekiah Harris for a very long time committed. That's good. You had Shadarius Tootle, who's, you know, he bounces inside and outside of the top 10. I think he's right around 11. But, I mean, Vodney Cleveland elsewhere. Marquez Daniel elsewhere. C.D. Morgan probably going elsewhere. Anthony Jones probably going elsewhere. Xavier Crowell probably going elsewhere. I mean, as far as, you know, last year getting, 7 or 8 out of the top 10, I mean, you may only get 2 out of the top 10 if things don't change. So would be big to get a kid, would be a big to go ahead and get this kid in the class. I don't know why he's not already committed. We talked about this a little bit last night. I don't understand why this kid's not already on the commit list. But it does seem like maybe it's coming to a close. But you know what? You can't really rest until it's in the barn. You can't really rest until or feel good about it until he's committed. We've seen this story before. They got to go ahead and close it. Whatever is going on behind the scenes, whether it be NIL or whatever, you got to get that crap figured out. Like this kid right here can't go somewhere else. Marquez Daniels, there's no excuse that you can't let that kid go somewhere else. You're getting the predictions. That's good. Finish the job. Get this kid in the class. He's a freak athlete. I don't care where he plays football. I don't care who he plays football against. Wadley's going to be the number 1 team in that classification again this year. Probably going to win another state championship. Give me more kids that come in here that are really good, high-rated players and then know how to win. Give me more kids like Caleb Harris that get pissed off when they lose and jump on seniors that seem to not care. Get this done, Auburn. Get this one done. Get this kid in the class. I think you got a really good shot at it. And then you can feel a little bit better. You can feel a little bit like you're getting close to, say, stopping the bleeding. You feel like you just, everywhere you turn around, you're bleeding. You're losing ground on recruits. You're losing ground on commits. The decommitments aren't done. Probably going to lose Devin Carter, which is understandable. When you add it all into everything, though, it stinks even worse. But I mean, he is a legacy to Florida State, and even though they had a terrible season last year, they just seem to get it done on the recruiting trail. Similar to Auburn up until just recently. You got to have some kind of positive momentum. You got to be able to have an answer. That's one thing that's been so frustrating. There's been zero answer for any of this. Usually you lose a commit, boom, you announce a new one. One of your prospects commits elsewhere, boom, you announce a commitment from someone else. There's been none of that. It's just been punch after punch after punch to where you're like, man, what the heck is going on? What are we doing? Jaquez Wilkes, I think, would maybe get the ball rolling back in the right direction and help stop the bleeding. We're going to talk about what Auburn needs to do over July and August here in just a second, but here's a word from our sponsors. So let's talk about what Auburn needs to do over the next 2 months, okay? This doesn't look like it's going to be a very big class from a total commit standpoint, okay? Doesn't look like it's going to be that. Last year I think we had around 20. I think this will be a little bit lower. And I don't think that is based off of Auburn not having success. I think this was always going to be a little bit of a smaller class just due to needs, just due to the successes of the prior 2 classes, to how realistic or how real that the portal has become. It's not just a supplemental thing like we all hoped it would be. And that's for everybody. It's becoming a main part of how you build a roster now. It's almost 50-50. I mean, you're basically going to bring in about as many high school kids as you bring in portal kids every single year. So a lot of that's because you lose kids and you have to add those scholarships back. So this was always going to be a little bit of a smaller class. I'm trying to look up last year's class. Yeah, somewhere around 20. But so yeah, this one's going to be smaller. So that's okay. I can remember Clemson having classes of 15 players. This was years ago. Now, about all of them would be 5 or 4 stars. But I can remember, I know that there's situations that happen to where the numbers work where you don't necessarily have to have a bunch of commits. So that's what this class is probably going to be. Okay. So you got to keep that in mind. We're not trying to get to 25. They're probably trying to get to 16 to 18. All right. So you're going to be at 5 soon with Devin Carter gone. Hopefully you add Jaquez Wilkes like we just talked about. Hopefully that's incoming. Maybe by today. If you're listening today, maybe by the time you listen to this, he's already committed. So that gets you back to 6. You don't lose anybody else. That's the key. Don't lose anybody else. Denarius Gray is one. He's reaffirmed his commitment. It feels like multiple times, but that's one that you're just probably not ever going to be able to feel comfortable about. And I hope I'm wrong. But as far as things you got to do over the next couple of weeks, don't lose any more commits. After Devin Carter, don't lose any more. Okay? Do what you got to do. Don't lose any more. Then I think you need to add another at least 4 guys. I think you need to add at least 4 guys between now and kickoff. I don't know how you're going to do that. I don't even really know who you have that's that close to pulling the trigger. Outside of Jaquez Wilkes, I really don't know. You know, I mentioned a few names last night, but to me, Killian Zaire, that's low-hanging fruit. This kid's a player, okay? He's a legacy. He's at a position of need. Why is he not committed? Get that kid in the class. I said Killian. I meant Killian's the brother. What is his name? It's not Killian Zaire. It's the brother. Okay, the younger brother. I'm losing it right now. Wilson. I knew it was Wilson. 6'6", 280. He's from Georgia. It's your recruiting territory. Position of need. 4-star kid, basically across the board. That's one that you could probably get if you push for him. So that would be one that you could maybe go push for and get. You got Claude Mpuma that's got a commit date out there pretty soon. He loved his Auburn visit. He's also claimed that Florida was his leader. You got that commit on the horizon in this time frame that we're talking about. Figure out how to get it done. Do what you got to do. Get it done. If you add those 2 offensive tackles, I think everybody is starting to, okay, let's take a little bit of a deep breath. This slowed portion happened last year too. Things picked up in July and August. Then we get to the season and you finally try to prove what you've been selling on the field. And who knows what happens from there. One of your linebackers that you love, Adam, they call him Goon. I don't even want to try to pronounce his last name. Balagun Ali. He's coming on a visit. There's people that think he's actually the top target on the list. Get him in the class. Get him in the class now. You better. So those are 3 or 4 guys over the next 2 months. Like, go ahead and lock those guys down. Quit playing around. And it's going to be harder now because it's a dead period. Maybe don't take this last weekend off and bring those guys in one more time and lock it down. Now you got to do it over the phone. You got to do it over text messaging. You can't talk to them in person, but you got to get it done. You got to get it done. I know winning is going to help a lot in the season, but let's be realistic, okay? And I've said this before as well. You flipped 8 guys last year. Florida flipped a handful of guys when they started getting hot last year. How many are you realistically going to flip? Let's say we just do 8 again. I'll tell you what. Yeah, let's say we get 8 again, okay? If you don't have somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 commits, 9 to 10 commits before the season starts, are you 100% sure you're not going to lose anybody else? And then B, can you actually flip those 8 guys? That puts you around that 16 to 17 mark, which is kind of where you want to be. But you got to get a couple more on the board. You got to get 3 or 4 more on the board so that you feel confident that you can either A, add some uncommitted guys or flip some guys that you really like that are committed elsewhere. A lot of work to be done. I think you can stop the bleeding here soon. Regroup, get your stuff together off the field, and then go close some guys. Go close some of these guys that there's really no excuse for them not to be already committed. Create momentum. Create your own momentum. They've been really good at that in the past. Figure it out and get this thing going in the right direction so you can actually focus on the season, because God knows if we have to recruit, sometimes then we can't coach. Like let's don't get in a situation where we're pointing fingers again, where we're like, I couldn't do this because I was recruiting or whatever. Multitask. Figure it out. The roadmap's there. They just got to do it. So hopefully they can get these things done and can just build a little bit, get this train rolling back in the right direction. There's really no reason not to, other than they're just not able to get it done. So hopefully they get their stuff together, get the stuff cleaned up off the field, and we can start pushing forward. And hopefully we get this hopefully we get Jaquez Wilkes in the boat soon, and then you can sort of steady the ship and start sailing. So let's see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm trying not to be mega negative, okay? I'm trying not to be. And I don't think I am all the way negative yet. I'm very concerned. We continually are putting ourselves in a hole that's going to be really hard to win your way out of. It does not affect what happens on the field this year. I still think Auburn's going to be really good on the field this year. But you're going to put yourself in a position where it's going to be even harder day by day to win yourself out of this hole that you're digging on the recruiting trail. See, the football doesn't stop after this season. Like, it keeps going. The building process is not complete. It's going to keep going. It's every year. That's my only concern. I just don't want to get in too big of a hole that we can't dig ourselves out of. So, guys, I really appreciate you listening. Hopefully we'll have some good news this week we can talk about. We'll have some more fun conversations as the week goes on. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. And we'll talk again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.